Right before graduation, the girl I had a secret crush on, my goddess, turned into a hamster. She was like a soft, fluffy dumpling. I couldn't resist poking her. She promptly bit me. "Don't touch," she warned fiercely. Later, when she turned back into the cool, aloof goddess, I chose to keep my distance. But then she leaned her head close and commanded coolly, "Pet me. My name is Sincere Clark, just about the most ordinary senior you could find graduating from B University. Every time I walked back to my dorm from the supermarket, I'd get ambushed by the stray cats on campus. Out of respect for these furry upperclassmen, I willingly offered up various snacks. Until that one day, the peace was shattered by a scream. "Damn cat, get away from me." I stopped. That voice sounded familiar. I looked around but didn't see the familiar figure. "Get lost. Get lost, don't grab me." "Hey," I froze completely. That was definitely Victoria Sinclair's voice. I scanned the area again, my gaze finally settling on the bushes. Walking over, I saw several cats gathered around a small golden hamster, curiously pawing at it. The hamster scrambled everywhere, its little legs a blur, but still got batted down by a cat's paw. I could actually hear it yelling, "Help, help!" I crouched down and gently poked its body. Sure enough, I heard it curse. "Get lost, you blind fool, damn it," I couldn't help but chuckle. The contrast with the unapproachable beauty, the ice queen of the campus, was just too stark. "Victoria Sinclair? Is that really you?" Victoria Sinclair, computer science genius, beautiful, wealthy, fit, and brilliant. The most dazzling star at B University. The college entrance exams were for mortals like us. She received a special admission to B University at 16, joining an elite program. All the early admit students were in this program. She rarely attended classes with the rest of us, usually working directly with top professors on projects, coding, and even starting companies. Victoria's parents were business tycoons, and her uncle, Edward Sinclair, was a renowned B University alumnus, the kind whose picture hangs on the official school website. The life of a golden child, something the rest of us could only envy. So, confirming that the hamster before me was indeed Victoria Sinclair, my brain short-circuited for a full 2 minutes. Thankfully, my good relationship with the campus cats allowed me to rescue her easily. What else could I do? The situation goddess turns into a hamster was too bizarre. I couldn't exactly take her to my academic advisor. My only option was to bring her back to my dorm. I made her a little nest out of a box, lined it with wood shavings, and used 2 bottle caps for food and water. "You seem pretty poor," she concluded. "It all happened so suddenly." "I'll buy you proper things tomorrow." I scratched my head. She snorted and rolled around in the wood shavings a few times. So cute. I desperately wanted to squish her. I couldn't control myself and reached out to pet her. "Ow," she bit me. "Don't touch," she warned. "Sorry," I mumbled, retracting my hand sheepishly. "What was your name again?" She poked her head out of the shavings to look at me. I actually felt nervous being scrutinized by a hamster. I sat up straight. "My name is Sincere Clark. Class of 20, Computer Science, Section 1. Never heard of you." Fat chance she'd ever heard my name. "But you look kind of familiar. Come closer, let me see." My eyes lit up and I leaned in. "Oh, you're that fool who was sleeping at table 15 on the 7th floor of the library." I was shocked, but also secretly pleased. She actually remembered me. Victoria rarely appeared on campus but occasionally visited the 7th floor of the library. The books there were all advanced astrophysics texts, incredibly esoteric. Very few people went to the 7th floor, and those who did were usually hoping for a chance encounter with Victoria. I was no exception. However, as a standard homebody nerd, my life really was a triangle route between the library, dorm, and cafeteria. On lucky days, I would actually run into her. I even spoke to her once, though the situation was incredibly awkward. It was during review week. I hadn't gone back to the dorm for lunch and decided to nap at my seat. My desk was tapped by Victoria Sinclair. Blearily opening my eyes, I jolted awake. It was the first time I'd been this close to her. I was stunned by her beauty, magnified 100 times. Expressionless, she said, "Excuse me, if you're not reading this book, can I have it?" "Which one?" Oh, okay. Here you go." I pulled out the Trouble with Physics from under my arm, my face flushing. Just that one interaction, and she remembered me. Of course, I wasn't narcissistic enough to think she was captivated by my charm. It was purely her computer-like photographic memory. Still, I kind of wished she'd forget. Being known as the fool sleeping at table 15 Ascend was a bit embarrassing. "Why can you hear me talking?" she asked, nibbling on a small cracker. "I don't know. But why did you turn into a hamster?" I leaned on the table, watching her. "I woke up like this." She seemed to be thinking, pausing her cracker eating. Her cheeks puffed out. "A supernatural event," I suggested. "Bullshit, I feel like I'm dreaming," she retorted, resuming her munching. I never imagined Victoria Sinclair could be so chatty. I was thoroughly amused. She usually kept to herself on campus, very mysterious. On the rare occasion she attended a large lecture, the professor would inevitably call on her. Her voice then was cool and distant, like moonlight on snow, completely different from now. "But this is fine too. More relaxed," she said, crunching her cracker. "But," I ventured, "we're about to graduate. Aren't you worried?" She scoffed. "Graduation? What's that got to do with me?" Right, I shouldn't have asked. She dictated terms to the university, not the other way around. My mistake. "Still, thank you for helping me, Mr. Clark," she said. "You're welcome," I smiled. Having eaten her fill, she yawned and burrowed into the wood shavings to sleep. Her soft body curled into a ball. The image of an adorable furball materialized right before me, melting my heart. Now my days consist of staying in my dorm and feeding my hamster. Oh wait, feeding Victoria Sinclair. My roommates found it odd. Mr. Hard Worker isn't working so hard anymore, bewitched by this little hamster demon. I finished assembling the hamster mansion I'd bought. Put together, the thing was practically a miniature model house, taking up half my desk. Victoria explored her new little home, darting in and out, finally nodding in satisfaction. Small but perfectly formed. I offered her a washed blueberry. "Glad you like it." She took the blueberry, nibbled it twice, and replied, "Thoughtful of you." "Oh, right. I'm planning to go to the library this afternoon to revise my thesis," I informed her, seeking permission in advance. "Okay," she replied succinctly. Right. Little hamster demon." I spent the afternoon in the library, sorting and integrating my preliminary experimental data, revising my thesis until it was almost unrecognizable. Before I knew it, evening arrived. Just as I left the library, I got a call from my Aunt Martha, asking when I was coming home. "I still have my defense," I explained, "and the graduation ceremony after that. It'll probably be around the 10th of next month. Bebe misses you. He goes into your room every day to see why you're not back yet." Aunt Martha called Bebe over. I heard him bark loudly twice into the phone. I found that pup on my way home from school years ago, barely alive and covered in wounds. Now he's a lively 7-year-old. "All right," Aunt Martha laughed. "I'll have David pick you up from the airport then. What do you want to eat when you get back?" "Crayfish," I answered cheerfully. "Okay," Aunt Martha chuckled heartily. My parents divorced early on, and both remarried, forming new families. Neither wanted me, except for my aunt. I've lived with Aunt Martha since middle school. She's busy with her business, but always makes time to check in on me. My cousins, David and Sarah, are 7 or 8 years older than me, and also look out for me. Although my original family situation left me feeling gloomy and suppressed, their love prevented me from going down the wrong path. The only way I could repay their kindness was through hard work. So, while I wasn't naturally gifted academically, I made up for it with effort. On the way back to the dorm, I stopped by the supermarket again, as usual. Victoria really liked the sea salt crackers and the caramel sunflower seeds. Thank goodness she turned into a hamster. If she were still the old Victoria Sinclair, I wouldn't even be able to get close to her, let alone feed her. Passing the grassy area near the supermarket, a few cats jumped out to ambush me again. I tore open a sausage stick and fed them. Some kittens liked dried sweet potato sticks too, but the calico cat, the one who loved sweet potato the most, was missing. I hadn't seen her for days. Her belly had been noticeably round before. She must have been pregnant. Maybe she found a place to have her kittens. Suddenly, someone jumped out right in front of me. I quickly stepped back. Looking closely, I saw it was a girl. She had 2 pigtails and was wearing a rainbow of colors: red, yellow, blue, green, cyan, indigo, violet. She looked like she'd stepped straight out of an anime. She eyed me up and down suspiciously, acting cagey. "Who are you?" I asked, completely bewildered. The cats were rubbing against my legs, meowing. The girl stared at me for a few seconds before relaxing her guard. "Do you always feed the cats here?" she asked. "Occasionally," I replied. "What's wrong?" "2 cats have been tortured and killed. I'm looking for the culprit." She showed me a video. One of the cats was the calico. Its belly had been cut open, and the fully formed kittens inside had been chopped up. Utterly brutal. I checked the security footage. I'm sure it's someone from our university, but the killer was careful. Covered up completely, even wore a long wig to look like a woman. She showed me a blurry photo from the camera. Although the suspect's clothes were disgusting, their build clearly indicated a man. The cat in his arms wasn't struggling, suggesting he had previously fed it to gain its trust. But there are so many stray cats here, and lots of people feed them. It's really hard to identify the killer. "I can try to enhance the image using tech," I offered. "Let me know if you need help with anything else." "Thanks, that would be great." We exchanged contact information. Her name was Sophie Turner, a sophomore from the Art Academy. Back in the dorm, my mind was elsewhere. "You went to feed the cats again?" Victoria mumbled, munching on sunflower seeds, her words slightly slurred. I rubbed my hands together. "Sharp nose you've got there. I was worried you'd mind, so I washed my hands several times." "Discouraged by thesis writing? You looked down as soon as you came back." I feigned surprise. "Why, you could tell? You really do care about me now that we were more familiar." I wasn't as reserved around her. As expected, she stopped chewing and cursed. Psycho. I felt a surge of satisfaction, but then sighed and told her about the calico cat. As I spoke, anger welled up inside me. I slammed my fist on the table, nearly shaking her little house apart. Victoria brushed off the wood shavings that had fallen on her head with her paw. "I know you're upset, but calm down first. He's absolute scum." I took a few gulps of water to cool down. "If we can confirm it's a student here, it should be easier. You said he avoided most security cameras. Definitely premeditated. But right now, all we have is one blurry photo. Even if you find the guy, you have no proof he killed the cats. Yeah, he's too cunning. But we have to catch him first, no matter what." Bang, the dorm room door slammed open. Michael, Captain J. Johnson, our dorm leader, was back from playing basketball. "Damn, it's scorching hot out there." He ripped off his shirt. I immediately covered Victoria's eyes. "Avert your eyes from impropriety." She remained unfazed. "I'm just a hamster right now." Captain J came over, wanting to pet her. I quickly hid her in my hand. "Can't touch her. She bites." "You still keep something that bites?" Captain J scoffed. "She only bites strangers, not her owner," I retorted. Just as the words left my mouth, I felt a sharp pain in my finger. Once Captain J was in the shower, I whined, "Hey, you really bit me." She quickly scurried back into her house, leaving behind a cool, chubby little back. I clutched my heart. Another day nearly overwhelmed by the cuteness of this furball. The weather grew hotter, and the thesis defense date drew nearer. The entire dorm building echoed with intermittent wails. Everyone was getting slaughtered by the plagiarism checks. "So-and-so, I will have my revenge," another shout echoed from outside. Everyone chuckled along. "Sincere, let's see yours." Anthony Chubbs Davis squeezed over, scanning my heavily revised thesis with lightning speed. As expected from the king of hard work, he gave me a thumbs up. "You call this hard work?" "It's a pile of crap," I muttered, shocked. Captain J, headphones on and busy gaming, yelled without turning around, "There's food in ICB's cabinet. Don't let it go bad." perfect timing, I'm starving, Chubbs trotted over happily. Only then did Victoria emerge from her nest. Nearly suffocated me, she complained. Big guys sweat more. Just bear with it. After graduation, I'll take you home. Is that a promise? Of course, I puffed out my chest. But I have a dog at home named Bebe. He's a really cute beagle, very well behaved. Worried she'd disapprove again, I showed her a picture of Bebe. What an ugly dog, Victoria said, true to her sharp-tongued nature. I silently put my phone away. Then I heard her sigh. Fine. Actually, he's okay, I guess. My eyes lit up. Right? Bebe's just not very photogenic. Victoria ignored me and climbed onto the computer screen, peering intently. Her staring made me a little self-conscious. Just as I was about to close the thesis document, she said, "Scroll down." I did as she asked. After she finished reading the entire paper, I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles, more nervous than when Professor Evans was reviewing it. She mulled it over for a long moment before finally saying, barely passable, "The system diagrams are poorly done, but I guess that's the standard for undergraduate theses. Please stop, sis. My ego's feeling a bit bruised." She nodded. "You are indeed a bit dumb." I was speechless. "I'll teach you how to fix it. Maybe my hamster life depends on you after all," she sighed. Okay, I rejoiced inwardly. Most of the time I was alone in the dorm. Captain J was a basketball fanatic, Chubbs had already signed with a company, and Brandon Icy B. Lee, the rich kid, was always off somewhere having fun. This actually made things convenient. Otherwise, anyone seeing me chatting away with a hamster would freak out. Victoria was indeed brilliant. Unlike many academic prodigies, she could explain things simply. After the revisions, I sent the thesis to Professor Evans and actually received positive feedback. I knew I had it in the bag now. "So tired," Victoria whined, rubbing her head. An idea struck me. "Doesn't this feel like we're acting out a fairy tale?" She glanced at me. I grinned. "I'm the traveling scholar." "I am not a demon," she turned her back, raising her little paws defiantly. "Want a chestnut?" she demanded. I handed her a candied chestnut. She hugged it and gnawed, her back twitching with each bite. She'd gotten much plumper, almost the size of my palm now, like a little furball. I quickly poked her once. "Campus rumors are flying," I said, "saying you were in a car crash and ended up in a vegetative state." She turned around, surprised. "I'm not dead yet." "So the rumors are true." I didn't dare ask the next part. Rumors also said it was a suicide attempt, the road was perfectly fine, yet her car had plunged straight into the bay. "Did you want to die that badly?" I asked. "Living is okay too, but this half-dead state, better to die sooner rather than later." She continued munching her chestnut, completely unconcerned. It was me who couldn't help asking, "Why did you get into the car accident?" She hesitated for a moment before saying, "An accident. Aren't you worried you won't change back? How long do humans live? Barring accidents, 70 or 80 years. And hamsters, 2 or 3. Liberation in 2 or 3 years. Why suffer for decades? Why?" "But you're Victoria Sinclair that again?" She stretched lazily. I pondered for half a minute. Victoria's parents were business tycoons, and she was an extraordinary genius. She must have burdens ordinary people couldn't comprehend. "What are you thinking about?" Victoria asked suddenly. "I'm thinking," I said honestly, "that people at your level, geniuses and madmen combined, your brains are wired differently from ordinary folks." She sneered. "Indeed. Different from simple-minded creatures like you. Barring accidents, your life after graduation will revolve around getting a job you won't get fired from, and marrying a beautiful, virtuous wife. Then you'll be saddled with the triple burden of car loans, mortgages, and raising kids, paying off debts until the day you die. Even graduating from B University's top program, you might earn decent money. But for most people, getting into B University is the peak moment of their lives. It's all downhill from there. It'll be much easier, though." I blinked, digesting her words. "You're not wrong, but life, it's about living for the moment. Let me guess, even being Victoria Sinclair, you still find the repetition of life meaningless." That's why you wanted to become a hamster, free from responsibility and the need to seek meaning? Her ears perked up. What I said isn't an excuse for you to wildly speculate about my thoughts. But you're right. In today's rapidly advancing technological age, anyone's life can be mapped out by algorithms, devoid of any novelty. If you insist on meaning, in the grand river of time, human existence itself is meaningless, let alone yours or mine. But even so, she countered, isn't there any fun in life? Where do you find the fun? I smiled. In experiencing emotions. Love is the only variable in scientific algorithms. My phone on the desk suddenly rang. It was Sophie Turner. Since exchanging contacts, Sophie and I had met a few times. The suspect's photo and the pictures of the abused cat had been posted on the university forum and various online platforms, causing quite a stir. The university took it seriously but demanded the online posts be deleted to avoid negative public opinion. Under pressure, Sophie had to take them down. However, she and a few other students formed the Cat Protection Squad, determined not to rest until the culprit was brought to justice. I quite admired the girl. That evening, the Cat Protection Squad had dinner together. Besides me and a guy with glasses, both seniors, the rest were juniors. I've been busy revising my thesis these past few days, haven't been much help, I said. Sincere, you've already helped a lot, Sophie replied. That enhanced photo is much clearer, but we can't jump to conclusions without evidence. Right now, the most important thing is to protect the remaining cats, I nodded. A junior male student at the table said, we've already found new homes for 3 cats. Some of the wilder ones have been sent to the vet clinic to be neutered. At least there won't be any more stray kittens. That evil villain, we must avenge the cats who died, a female student declared, standing up. Everyone raised their glasses indignantly, vowing to protect the remaining strays on campus. I felt like I had stumbled into some kind of action anime. They were a group of world-saving heroes, and I was the trembling normie. On my way back to campus that night, I stopped by a nut shop and bought plenty of nuts and seeds. Sophie knew I had a hamster. Your hamster must be chubby and cute, Sincere, she laughed. How did you know? But yes, she is quite round. I couldn't help but smile, picturing Victoria munching on chestnuts. How could she not get fat being fed like that? Hearing this, everyone else clamored to see a photo. I had sneakily taken one while Victoria was sleeping and set it as my phone wallpaper. She looked like a supersized dumpling, utterly adorable. The whole group melted. They asked me to bring the hamster out next time. I just smiled non-committally. I wouldn't dare make decisions for Her Majesty. Back in the dorm, I poked the sleeping Victoria awake. Dinner time for some reason. She'd been very sleepy lately, dozing most of the time. I was worried she might just sleep forever. Victoria groggily opened her eyes. You smell strongly of hot pot and perfume. Take a shower before talking to me. I sniffed my collar. There was a faint smell. Such a sensitive nose, you can even smell perfume? Sophie was sitting next to me today. Maybe it rubbed off. I grabbed my clothes and headed for a shower. I used body wash 3 times before coming out. Gone now? I asked, sitting at the desk and shaking my wet hair. She gave a cool M&M. What do you want first? I patted the bag of snacks beside me. Dried mango, she requested. She hugged the palm-sized piece of dried mango and started gnawing. I was about to tell her about the dinner when someone knocked on the door. It was the guy with glasses from the squad. His name was Quentin Taylor. We'd only realized during dinner that we lived in the same dorm building. Brought you some fruit, he said politely, holding up a bag. Thanks. I invited him in. Is this the hamster you keep? He asked, pointing at my desk. Victoria lifted her head and glanced at him. No wonder Sophie couldn't stop talking about you today, Quentin continued. Turns out you really like small animals. Girls really do like caring guys. I scratched my head. It's all right, I guess. I'll get more pets when I have the means. They're living beings, after all. As fellow graduates, Quentin and I chatted about thesis matters for a bit before he left. The moment he walked out, Victoria wrinkled her nose in disgust. He reeks of cat and dog and a foul, fishy smell. Cat and dog smell? I didn't smell anything, because you're a caring guy. Girls like that, she stated. What was that supposed to mean? It took me a moment to realize she was being sarcastic. That's a huge misunderstanding, I explained. No girls like me. She turned her back to me. What's it to me? You don't need to tell me. I don't want to hear it. I changed the subject. All right, but I want to hear from you. Lots of people must like you. What kind of person do you like? Is that important? She asked awkwardly. Of course, didn't I say before that love is the only variable in scientific algorithms, like the Frog Prince fairy tale? Maybe if you find your true love and they kiss you, you'll turn back into a human. Victoria was silent for a few seconds, then shot me a disdainful look. What on earth goes on in that head of yours? Ha ha, I couldn't help laughing. Victoria was always so serious. Teasing her occasionally was fun. On the day of the thesis defense, I tried on several outfits in the dorm. Victoria kept making disapproving tisk sounds. Every time I heard it, I knew it wasn't right. This one has to be okay, right? While I couldn't claim to be Ryan Gosling handsome, I was tall and well-built, perfectly capable of pulling off a suit. Passable human attire, she commented. I was speechless. How about devastatingly handsome? She closed her eyes. I was heartbroken. Could you maybe open your eyes and look again? I refuse to believe you see nothing, Victoria chuckled, and I laughed along with her. She crawled over and patted my hand. Mr. Clark, good luck with your defense. Thank you, Miss Sinclair. Wait for my triumphant return at the defense site. By some twist of fate, I drew the third to last slot. The perpetually dry summer finally broke today with a torrential downpour that looked set to last all day. While waiting, my mood shifted from slightly anxious to calm. Years of hard study would finally culminate today. The defense ended. Professor Evans was very satisfied with my performance, and even said he'd include my thesis in the collection of outstanding graduate papers. ICB invited the dorm mates out for dinner that evening. I headed back to the dorm first to feed Victoria, my steps light all the way. The dorm building was already quite empty. People were leaving one after another after finishing their defenses, dragging suitcases behind them. Back in the dorm, I walked to the desk. There were wood shavings scattered on it. Victoria? I called out. No response. She wasn't inside her house. I searched everywhere but couldn't find her. She rarely left the desk, let alone ran out of the room. But the dorm door was rarely locked tight. It wasn't impossible someone had come in. The thought made me anxious. Suddenly my phone rang. It was Sophie. As soon as I answered, I heard her crying. Another cat. Died. The killer struck again. I froze. In a flash, Victoria's words echoed in my mind. He reeks of cat and dog, and a foul, fishy smell. Cold sweat beaded on my forehead. I immediately pulled up the only blurry photo of the suspect, zoomed in, and looked closely. I finally recognized the shoes, the same white canvas shoes with buckles that Quentin Taylor had worn the day we had dinner. He had been provoking me, and I hadn't noticed at all. Blinding rage surged through me. I sprinted downstairs. Quentin? The guys in his dorm room were clearly startled by my sudden appearance. One guy, crouching and packing luggage, said, "He left, I think, right after his defense yesterday." Left? A chill ran down my spine. Another guy poked his head out from the washroom. No, he didn't leave. He came back this afternoon, said he forgot something. As he spoke, my eyes fell on an empty bunk near the door. A few Polaroid photos of animals were still stuck to the wall. I walked closer. Among them was the pregnant calico cat that had been killed. "This is Quentin's bed?" "Yeah." "Who are you? What do you want with him?" My stomach churned with nausea. If Quentin had taken Victoria, the consequences were unthinkable. What did he take? My voice trembled. The guy packing stood up, smirking. Dunno. Probably another animal he brought from somewhere. The guy in the washroom complained, "How can he keep pets in such a tiny dorm?" "He rents a place off campus, brings them here for a couple of days, then takes them there." "What do you want with him anyway?" Quentin's rented apartment was in an older complex not far from the university. I ran non-stop to his building, apartment 201. Quentin and I hammered on the door frantically. Silence from within. My anxiety intensified. Just as the door began to buckle under my assault, someone downstairs screamed. Someone jumped. I immediately dashed downstairs. Quentin, who had jumped from the second floor, was limping away. I lunged, tackling him to the ground. Fresh blood stained his clothes. The hamster, I roared, shaking him. "Where is she?" Talkie stared at me through his shattered glasses and grinned.
"Was gonna help you cut open the cat's belly to save it.
"But you showed up at a bad time." An overwhelming wave of fury crashed over me. I lost control, raining punches down on his face. My hands were covered in blood, knuckles split open, bones aching from the impact. It took a long moment for sanity to return. I wiped the blood spatter from my face, chest heaving as I gasped for breath. Doing something like this and acting like nothing happened. "You're disgusting." I grabbed his collar and hauled him up like a sack of garbage. "I've already called the police." "Young man, don't be rash." Only then did I realize people had gathered around. I glanced at the old man who had spoken. He quickly shut his mouth. I dragged Quentin upstairs to the second floor. Finding the key in his backpack, I opened the door. He suddenly struggled, trying to flee. I kicked him hard in the chest several times. He collapsed, motionless. I dragged him inside and shut the door. The apartment was dark and thick with the smell of blood. My heart heavy, I flipped on the light. The tablecloth in the living room was soaked in blood. A Pomeranian dog lay there, recently deceased. Its stomach had been cut open, intestines spilled out. A camera sat on the table, still on. I took the SD card I'd found in Quentin's pocket and inserted it. It was filled with evidence of his animal abuse. In the latest video, he had put Victoria and a cat into a small box. Instinctively, the cat kept batting at the hamster in the box, playing with it, but not eating it. For the hamster, it was pure torture. In the footage, Victoria had stopped moving. Although the video cut off, I knew her chances were slim. Cats often kill their prey after tiring of playing with it. Watching the video, I felt a gut-wrenching agony, as if my insides were being scorched. It was all my fault. I hadn't protected her. I raised a numb hand and slapped the unconscious Quentin awake. "Why did you do it?" I demanded. He spat out a mouthful of blood, taking a moment to register his surroundings. "What do you want?" "I'm warning you, don't do anything crazy." He scrambled back against the wall, hands fumbling for his glasses. I turned on the video camera, pointing it at him. "Why kill these animals? And why steal my hamster?" He flinched away, still dazed. "I just killed a few animals. What right do you have to hit me? You people are all the same, pathetic hypocrites pretending to be so noble, right? You're all wretched liars." I turned off the camera. Pitying the weak isn't noble, just like harming the weak isn't. "But you," I dragged him towards the dining table. He let out a pig-like squeal. A heavy punch to his temple finally silenced him. "You are despicable," I said. The dog's blood on the table had congealed. I grabbed a handful and shoved it into his mouth. He made choking sounds, gurgling in his throat. I stuffed all the congealed blood and dog hair from the table into his mouth. He gagged, eyes rolling back. I clamped my hand firmly over his mouth. His eyes bulged, tears and snot streaming down his face. "If you like it so much, swallow it all," I said. I didn't know what expression I wore, but he looked at me with the utter despair of someone seeing a demon. Suddenly, a cat meowed from the bedroom, sharp claws scratching frantically at the door. I staggered to my feet and pushed the bedroom door open. A cat darted out and rubbed against my leg. I recognized it as one of the strays from campus, the same one from the video. I crouched down. It nudged my hand. I couldn't hold back anymore. Clutching the cat, I broke down sobbing. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. If only I had realized what Quentin was sooner. This wouldn't have happened. Victoria wouldn't have died. The cats and dogs wouldn't have died." Guilt and self-reproach overwhelmed me, blotting out my senses. After crying for several minutes, I felt a sharp prickle on my neck. A voice, thin as a thread, whispered in my ear, "Put this smelly cat down." My body went rigid. I immediately complied. Victoria's tiny claws clung to my collar. Carefully, I extended my hand and let her rest in my palm. "You're not dead," I choked back tears, scarcely believing it. "Almost," she whispered, barely breathing. Her beautiful fur was matted, stained with blood from cat scratches. "I'm sorry," I sniffled. "Did you kill him?" Victoria struggled to open her eyes. I glanced back at Quentin lying on the floor. "No, just knocked out." Victoria lay limply in my palm. She couldn't crawl, couldn't even keep her eyes open. "I'll take you to a doctor," I said, standing up. "Sincere?" "Don't move yet," she said weakly. "I've been so tired, sleepy lately. It's because my consciousness is fading. Even without this, I wouldn't have lasted long. These past days felt like a dream, but one of the few good ones. Thank you. Don't thank me. I just want you to live." Victoria didn't speak again. The warmth in my palm slowly faded. I had lost her. This summer felt endless, the constant high temperatures leaving me in a daze. Everything that had happened felt like a long, illusory dream. "Sincere?" Sophie Turner's voice came over the phone. She told me Quentin's animal cruelty case had blown up. With ample evidence, the university revoked his degree. Besides the stray animals, he had also stolen and killed numerous pets belonging to local residents. He would face civil lawsuits. If you hadn't caught him, Sincere, he would have gotten away. "Everyone's really grateful to you." "It was the right thing to do," I said. "But I'm sorry. The hamster didn't make it, and I caused you trouble by getting taken to the police station. It's okay now. She'll live on in a different way." Not wanting to burden my aunt, I'd always avoided trouble. But this time, Quentin's injuries were severe. He spent a day in the hospital before regaining consciousness. I spent 2 days at the police station. Aunt Martha and David came to pick me up. We paid a sum of money to settle the matter. I felt terribly guilty. Walking out of the station, Aunt Martha patted my shoulder. "As long as you're okay, you did a good thing. We'll buy you another hamster when we get home. Don't be sad." "All right, Sincere," David chimed in. "That scum deserved it. Your cousin Sarah already bought you several mice back home. You can raise them when you get back. Chin up, big guy. They're called hamsters, David." On graduation day, strangely, many people came up to me for photos and gave me flowers. I was completely bewildered, my hand practically stuck in a peace sign pose. Sincere Sophie and her group ran over. Happy graduation, they stuffed my arms with gifts. Adjusting my graduation cap, I said, "Thank you." "We should be thanking you for catching that bad guy," Sophie explained, that they had spread the word everywhere online, building pressure so Quentin couldn't be let off easily. And just like that, I had made a name for myself. The university initially hadn't wanted to deal with Quentin harshly, but public opinion, plus a word from Elder Sinclair, forced their hand. "Edward Sinclair?" I was surprised. "You mean Victoria's uncle?" "Yeah. Elder Sinclair was giving a lecture at C University the other day, and our university leaders were there. He mentioned the incident right then and there. Otherwise, our efforts wouldn't have made such a splash. As we were talking, a commotion arose at the edge of the crowd. "Victoria Sinclair's here. Didn't she have a car accident? Do you guys know? I heard she crashed because her family was trying to arrange a marriage for her." "Really? No way. The version I heard was that she'd lost her creative spark, a multi-million-dollar project failed, and she couldn't handle it." People around buzzed with discussion. I was still a bit out of it. "Victoria. She was really back." "Sincere, you okay?" Sophie nudged my shoulder. "I'm fine." Just as I spoke, a slender, elegant figure cut through the crowd. Shoulder-length hair brushed against a jade-like face. Her features were exquisitely crafted, like a high-end AI robot, perfect to the point of being flawless, yet undeniably intimidating. Wherever Victoria Sinclair went, a path automatically cleared. She seemed oblivious to the murmurs about her, walking expressionlessly through the crowd. As she passed by me, my heart leaped into my throat. but she walked straight towards the auditorium as if she hadn't seen me at all. A faint, fresh scent lingered briefly before dissipating, masking the disappointment welling up inside me. Right. She wasn't my little hamster anymore. She was Victoria Sinclair. She didn't need me. "Sincere, let's grab dinner tonight?" Sophie asked. Head bowed, dejected, I mumbled. "No thanks. Don't worry about me. I'm fine." Inside the auditorium, the graduation ceremony began. Victoria Sinclair was to speak as the outstanding graduate representative. Though disappointed, I was also happy she was safe and sound. We were never from the same world anyway. Our brief encounter was just a twist of fate. Thinking this, my mood gradually calmed. After a burst of static from the microphone, Victoria's steady voice filled the hall. "Hello everyone, I am Victoria Sinclair. It truly hasn't been easy to meet you all here today. The speech draft I hold was written before my accident. 4,000 words precisely. Every punctuation mark, every paragraph structure clearly ordered, all paving the way for the correct ideology I intended to convey. Only after multiple reviews and approvals could I bring it to this stage, to speak before so many people." Her opening words left the audience slightly stunned. Then she put down the script and looked out at the audience. The auditorium fell silent, her voice the only sound echoing within. Like building blocks, one small misalignment can cause the entire structure to collapse. Therefore, I respect rules, believe in science, demand order, and allow no bugs in the program so the world can operate according to correct logic. But what is correct? What comes after correct? What is the meaning of a correct life? Perhaps pondering these questions led me into a predicament. So, I had an accident. During my time lying in the hospital, someone told me that life might have no inherent meaning, but it can be interesting. He said the fun part of life lies in experiencing emotions. Love, Victoria paused here, then lowered her head and smiled, is the only variable in the scientific algorithm. People in the audience chuckled along with her. Very childish, isn't it? I stopped saying things like that after age 5. It sounds so irrational. Later, I observed him. I found he took everything seriously but didn't sweat the small stuff. He found joy in mundane little things and wanted to share them with me. He could even watch a hamster eat for half an hour without moving. So, I want to say, her voice dropped slightly, I'm not sure if love is the only variable in the scientific algorithm, but you are my variable. Her words fell. After a moment of silence, thunderous applause erupted. My emotions felt like they were on a roller coaster. My mind floating in the clouds, completely blank. I hope everyone can live their lives in a way they find interesting. My speech is over. Thank you. The applause went on for a long time. I remained stunned. The ceremony on stage continued, but no one seemed to be paying attention anymore. The crowd came alive, whispering and excitedly discussing Victoria's words. Chubbs next to me kept poking me. Whoa, what just happened? Is the goddess confessing her love? Captain J scratched his head. Why do I feel like she was talking about Sincere? Isn't Sincere the one who loves raising hamsters? Hearing their conversation, I finally snapped back to reality. Victoria walked down from the stage. She took the graduation cap handed to her by a professor and walked straight towards the audience. Like everyone else, I watched her leave. But then she stopped right in front of me. "What are you spacing out for?" she said, holding the cap out to me. I instinctively stood up, my ability to speak gone. Say something, Chubbs, sitting beside me, pinched my leg hard. I finally reacted, taking the cap from her. "Are you feeling better?" I stammered. It was only the second time talking to the real her face to face. I was still nervous. "Yes." "Put it on for me," she said. Okay. I took the cap, adjusted it, and carefully placed it on her head. My fingertips brushed against her soft hair, sending tingles through me. "Let's go," she said, adjusting the cap. "The ceremony isn't over yet," I reminded her quietly. She leaned closer, whispering, "I don't want to listen to these old men talk. It's annoying." My heart rate shot to 180. "Okay," I said immediately. Twilight settled over the tree-lined avenue filled with graduates taking photos. After 2 minutes of silence, my brain overheated. Were you confessing to me just now? Took you long enough to figure it out. What do you think? I wouldn't dare assume. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. She actually hummed in agreement. I stopped walking, looking at her incredulously. You're not even going to explain? She crossed her arms, looking at me. Explain what? My confidence dwindled. My meaning is, I like you. She smiled, I know. Her smile instantly eased my nervousness. When did you know? She thought seriously for a moment. Probably since the fool sleeping at table 15 feet. I pressed my palms together. I beg you, please forget that. Can't delete it. There's a bug, she said, pointing to her head. So I'm the bug? You're the variable outside the order. You're love. Seeing her speak so earnestly, my face flushed red. Without a moment's hesitation, I took her hand. I get it now, girlfriend. Okay, boyfriend.